Shri Gurupyo Namaha. Hello students, hope you are all fine. I am Rukmani from Punvidyashram. Today's session begins with the first chapter from the Ratnasagar English Reader. The name of the chapter is The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The lining had been of red silk but was good deal discolored. There was no maker's name, but as Holmes had remarked, the initials HB were scrawled upon one side. It was pierced in the brim for a hat securer, but the elastic was missing. For the rest, it was cracked, exceedingly dusty, and spotted in several places, although there seemed to have been some attempt to hide the discolored patches by smearing them with ink. Brim here refers to projecting edge around the bottom of the hat. But for Watson, it looked as an ordinary hat, worn out and discolored. He also noticed the initials HB were imprinted on the brim of the hat, found the elastic missing, and suggested that the hat belonged to Mr. Henry Baker. Hat securer means an elastic band to hold the hat. I can see nothing. Tell me what you have deduced from this hat. Holmes looked thoughtfully at the hat and said, "The man leads a sedentary life and is quite clever. He is middle-aged and is not in good physical condition. His hair is grey and he puts lime cream in it. He was rich, but is now no longer so." Holmes had a few other such details about the man. I was astounded. "I must be very stupid, Holmes, for I am quite unable to follow you." Sedentary here means being inactive, and astounded means shocked or great surprise. For example, how did you deduce that he is clever from his hat? Well, the hat is very large, so he must have some brains. How do you know he has grey hair and uses lime cream? There is some fine grey hair on the lining of the hat. Therefore, his hair must be grey. There is a fine whiff of lime from the hat, and so he must use lime cream. Holmes had a logical explanation for each of his deductions. While Sherlock Holmes and I were talking, Peterson rushed into the room. After looking the hat for some time, he said he could find nothing, and he asked Holmes what did he deduce from the hat. To his surprise, Holmes started telling him about his deductions one by one. He told him all his assumptions that the man is intelligent, based on the size of the hat, and uses lime cream as he had grey hair. While the conversation was going on between them, Peterson rushed into the room and showed them the blue gemstone that was found by his wife in the throat of the goose. He showed us a beautiful blue diamond that his wife had found in the goose. Sherlock Holmes immediately recognized it as the beautiful gem that had recently been in the news. Holmes recalled reading about the theft. It had been stolen from the Countess of Marker while she was staying at the Hotel Cosmopolitan. A plumber who had come in to set something right in the room had been accused of the theft. Ryder, an attendant at the hotel, had given evidence that he had shown the plumber in shortly before the stone went missing. The Countess was very fond of the gem and was offering £1,000 as a reward for its recovery. As soon as he saw the gemstone, Holmes recognized it as the blue carbuncle of the Countess of Marker, stolen from her room when she was staying at the Hotel Cosmopolitan. The police suspected John Connor and arrested him as he was working at the hotel as a plumber. James Ryder, another hotel employee, pointed out the suspicion. The Countess was also ready to pay £1,000 as a reward to the person who finds it. You see, Watson, our little deductions have suddenly assumed a much more important and less innocent aspect, said Holmes thoughtfully. The question for us to solve now is the sequence of events leading from a rifled jewel case at one end to the crop of a goose in Tottenham Court Road at the other. The first step Holmes took was to place the following advertisement in the papers. Found at the corner of Goodge Street, a goose and a black felt hat. Mr. Henry Baker can have the same by applying at 6:30 this evening at 2218 Baker Street. This brought Baker to Holmes, and after a little conversation, it became quite clear to us that he was innocent. So Holmes gave him a fine goose to replace the one he lost and sent him off very happy and contented. This problem of a lost goose had now turned into a serious crime for Holmes to solve. Holmes placed advertisement in the papers about the hat, and Mr. Henry Baker met Holmes after seeing the advertisement. Holmes found him innocent and gave him a fresh bird as a replacement. The next step was to trace the seller of the goose. Some questioning of Mr. Baker led us to the seller, Mr. Breckinridge. A little conversation with him, and we found Mr. Baker's goose for Christmas had come from a lady called Mrs. Oakshott from Brixton Road. As Holmes and I were making plans to contact Mrs. Oakshott, we heard a hubbub near Mr. Breckinridge. The goose seller was shaking his fists at a little rat-faced man who was whining that the goose was his. Whining means making of a long, high-pitched cry or sound. Holmes found that the bird seller was Mr. Breckinridge, as he was talking to Mr. Baker. Now Holmes and Watson traced the path to Mr. Breckinridge and found that the goose had come from a woman named Mrs. Oakshott from Brixton Road. When they were about to go to Brixton Road, they heard a noise near Breckinridge stall where they saw a man who made repeated enquiry about the goose. "Ha, this may save us a visit to Brixton Road," whispered Holmes, and went after the man. The man, it turned out, was Ryder, the hotel attendant. He was Mrs. Oakshott's brother. She bred geese for the table for her living and had promised Ryder a fine goose for Christmas. Bred geese for the table means reared geese for meat. Ryder, who had given evidence against the plumber, was the one who had stolen the gem. He went to see his sister with the gem in his pocket. He put it into the mouth of the goose he thought that his sister had reserved for him to avoid being caught red-handed. However, he got the wrong goose, and the goose that had the gem got sold to Mr. Baker through Mr. Breckinridge. In despair, Ryder tried to recover the goose from Mr. Baker by having him waylaid by hoodlums. But as it happened, neither did Ryder get the goose, nor did he recover the gem, because Mr. Peterson came by and frightened the roughs away and brought the goose to Holmes. Immediately, Holmes and Watson followed the man and found him as Ryder, the hotel attendant. He is none other than Mr. Oakshott's brother. Mrs. Oakshott actually reared geese for her living and promised Ryder that she would give him a fine goose for the Christmas. So Ryder, who stole the gem, went to see his sister after giving an evidence against plumber and hid the gemstone in the gullet of a goose, thinking it as a reserved one for him. But he got the wrong goose, as goose sold to Mr. Baker through Mr. Breckinridge was the one with the gem. When Ryder came to know about this, he tried to recover it from Mr. Baker with the help of the roughs. The arrival of Peterson to that place made him to stop everything, and at last Peterson handed over the goose and the hat to Holmes. Ryder kneeled down in front of Holmes, begging for mercy, and Holmes forgave him and let him free. He told Watson he is too afraid to ever commit another crime and explains it is the season of forgiveness as because it is a Christmas period. Did you find the moral of the story? Yes, it is nothing but stealing, of course, is a crime and a very impolite thing to do. Okay, students? Hope you understood the story. Now let us see the difficult words in the chapter for which you have to find out the meanings. We have come to the end of the session. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.